Mpaka Mwine for the report. Can we now hear from the Minister of Finance? Honorable Kasaijja has sent a written response to what was raised about him. Honorable Minister. Honorable Minister.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable colleagues. In this case, I'm the messenger. Please do not butcher the messenger. Do listen to the message from Honorable Minister Kasaijja. Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable colleagues, I thank you and this Select Committee of Parliament on the National Social Security Fund for the support and the manner in which they have handled and the cross-examinations. The NSSF is a financial institution. The NSSF is a financial institution with heavy fixed income investments of up to 78% of the fund's portfolio in both domestic and regional markets. I believe this debate on the report will rebuild the confidence of savers in NSSF. Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable colleagues, I now summarize my comments and draw your specific attention to the observations and recommendations of the committee report on page 67 and page 139 to page 150 respectively. Observations. Number 6, 3, and 7 on page 67. Response. Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable colleagues, the Permanent Secretary and Secretary Treasury, the PSST, in various acts is the board member of the, for example, in NSSF, BOU, UBRA, URA, and other institutions. The PSST personally attends the meetings of BOU and URA for better coordination of the monetary policy and revenue mobilization. In order to promote administration and managerial efficiency, he delegates suitable qualified senior staff on their competence to the boards, who regularly report to him. The PSST and Secretary to Treasury delegated the Deputy Secretary to Treasury to handle this responsibility on his behalf on the board of NSSF. Recommendation number 1 on page 139. Honorable Matia responds as follows. Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable colleagues, my ministry agrees with the recommendations of the committee that the signing of various memorandum without the approval of the Attorney General is irregular. However, when this matter of paying Ms. Geraldine Sally came before the NSSF board, according to the board minutes, this payment was halted. Therefore, there was no financial loss caused. Recommendation number 2, A, B, C, on page 140. Honorable Matia responds. The ministry agrees with the whole recommendations of the committee in this regard. I therefore once again thank the Select Committee of Parliament on the National Social Security Fund for this wonderful report. Recommendation number 3 on page 140. I agree that the full supervision of the fund should be streamlined back to the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, as was recommended by His Excellency the President during the amendments of the NSSF Act. The Ministry had similar recommendations at various stages of the approval of the amendments of the bill. The responsibility for appointing of the board members should also remain with the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development with the approval of Cabinet, as is the case for all the other MDAs. Recommendation number 5 on page 141. The Minister responds as follows. Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable colleagues, the board made attempts to recover the land title through court. Court ruled in favor of NSSF, but Alcon and Tumusime, Kabega and co-advocates did not hand over the title. Therefore, court granted permission with instructions for Ministry of Lands to cancel the old title and process a fresh title for the workers' house in the names of NSSF. This is being pursued by NSSF. Recommendation number 7 on page 141. The Minister responds as follows. Right Honorable Speaker, the request for the 6 billion by my colleague, Honorable Betty Amoung, is irregular. For the 10 years that NSSF was directly supervised by the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, this scenario did not occur. It will not occur even when this is returned to the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development. Activities of the ministries should be, according to Honorable Minister Kasaijja, activities of the ministries should be financed from the consolidated fund through appropriation by Parliament. I agree with him. Recommendation number 10 on page 141. Response. Right,
Anita, is the word I agree with him part of the report?
No. The messenger is trying to say the message is okay. Right Honorable Speaker.
Let her finish her report, then you bring your issues. You are going to debate these reports. Let her finish.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable colleagues. The petition against the appointment of Dr. Sam Yomoki and Ms. Penina Tumwesiga was received at my office 2 days after I had already appointed the 2 persons on NSSF board. The appointment followed a rigorous process of fit and proper assessment by the sector regulator. The Uganda Retirement Benefits Regulatory Authority, UBRA, I could not have known the irregularities of the nominees since they are internal dealings of COFTU. Recommendation number 12 on page 141. The Minister responds. According to the records available, these 2 members did not retire voluntarily, but the environment created forced them to do so. In the interests of introducing more female members to the board, the Honorable Betty Amoung, the Minister of Gender, Labour and Social Development, requested to
Anita, she's called Amongi, not Among.
This is very distinct. I know the... Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Amongi. The Minister of Gender, Labour and Social Development requested to replace at least 2 female members with female members from the same constituencies. Since their negotiated resignation was to pave way for the female representatives, they demanded for some form of consideration in lieu of the circumstance surrounding their resignation. This followed 2 meetings as shown in attached annexes 1 and 2. The board made their recommendations to the Minister of Gender, Labour and Social Development, Honorable Minister Betty Amongi, and it was up to her to accept the recommendations, reject it altogether, or provide an alternative. Therefore, the 2 former board members were granted this compensation following the guidance of a meeting chaired by Honorable Minister Betty. You can see Annex 1 for that. The board has no powers to appoint or remove or specify terms of either actions on board members. Recommendation number 13 on page 145. Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable colleagues, Honorable Matia responds that the Office of the Auditor General has already begun conducting the value for money audit on these projects. Recommendations number 26 on page 149. The Minister responds, as a matter of good governance practice, NSSF investments will continue to be guided by the investment policy of the funder under the different asset classes. The fund shared this investment policy with the committee. In conclusion, the Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable colleagues, Honorable Matia responds that the 12th board has made in place for 1.5 years most of its issues cited by the committee that were causing weaknesses in governance predated the appointment of the current board. Since its inauguration, the 12th board has been preoccupied with the transition from the old law to the new law. Therefore, this matter needs to be discussed in light of the above. Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable colleagues, I beg to move on behalf of Honorable Minister Kasaijja, Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development.
Thank you, Honorable Anita. You've got the report from Honorable Kasaijja. Honorable Betty's report was also uploaded. That combines all of them. Then there is a separate one of Honorable Kunihira. It was also uploaded. It must be on your iPads.
Right Honorable Speaker and members, I'm here to make personal statement, but on behalf of myself and that of Honorable Erike Peter Christopher and Honorable Abuali Kunuhira Agnes. I hope she's in the house too.
Go ahead and read the report. Stephen?
Yes?
It is not a personal statement. It is your joint statement.
Yes, joint statement.
Because
joint statement.
Why don't you read the report as it is?
Joint statement. Joint statement. So this is that on 25th January.
Yes, Dr.
Right Honorable Speaker, I'm very much constrained to raise this procedure issue. But because we stand here to create precedents that will bind us today and tomorrow.
Just a minute before you bring the procedure matter. Why wouldn't you come and make your statement? Werike comes and Kunihira. Much as you are all lumped up in one recommendation, each of you was mentioned individually.
Right Honorable Speaker, if there is any pride that a teacher would take is seeing their students excel at what they do. You have my notes. There is no provision in our rules for joint statements. If you want to make a personal statement, it can only be personal and to you. And that was my point.
Thank you so much, Council. You are mentioned in one recommendation, but each of you should make a presentation.
Right Honorable Speaker, thank you for the guidance. So this is a personal statement in respect of the report of the Select Committee on Parliament on the state of affairs.
By the way, you're personal. You don't need to say it is a personal statement because we cannot debate on a personal statement. Read, this is a statement on ABCD.
This is a statement in respect of the report of the Select Committee of Parliament on the state of affairs of NSSF presented before the House on 1st March 2023. That on 25th January 2023, Parliament set up a select committee to investigate into the state of affairs of National Social Security Fund, and indeed on 1st March 2023, the chairperson of the committee, Honorable Mpaka Mwine, who is also my chairperson of the Committee on Trade, Tourism and Industry, presented the said report before the House for debate and adoption. On pages 147 and 148 of the impugned report,
the chairman of the committee, Honorable Mpaka Mwine, presented the report on behalf of the committee.
Yes.
It was not his personal report.
Guided. On pages 147 and 148 of the impugned report, my name was mentioned as those who benefited from the 10% NSSF illegal contributions and therefore the committee recommended that, and I quote, "The committee recommends that the above NSSF board members who have been receiving the money should refund it within 7 working days or face prosecution by the office of the DPP." Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable members, the right to be heard is well enshrined in Article 28, 42, and 43C of the Constitution 1995, and it is non-derogable. We were condemned, or I was condemned, and heard by the committee. I was never invited to appear before the committee to substantiate on the allegations of illegally receiving 10% NSSF contribution, whereas I'm at large and I'm available and a sitting member of parliament. The right to be heard means that a person must appear before an impartial tribunal, in this case, the committee, before it proceeds to render an adverse recommendation like it did. Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable members, had the committee been invited, or had the committee invited me as part of according me a fair hearing, I would have been able, among others, to state as follows. Appointment to the NSSF board. I, Ogapromoug David Stephen, I was appointed to the board of NSSF by Honorable Minister of Finance on April 14, 2019, for a board term of 3 years. I consider I didn't even conclude that term because when I came to Parliament, I resigned from that position. The said appointment are designed, or it is designed in the same language as stated, and stated the remunerations as per the board terms and conditions of engagement. And I would like to lay on table a copy of the appointment and my acceptance letter. I beg to lay.
Please lay.
Therefore, as part of, and that was part of my engagement, and the issue of 10% and 5% was to be deducted from my emoluments as an entitlement. And I also here, by lay on table, I beg to lay an instrument from the board that gives the entitlement to me as a member of the board, and which is always verified by WUBRA.
The instrument is signed by who?
By the Corporation Secretary of NSSF.
Dated when?
Dated, this is a sample. This is a sample because it is given to everybody.
I am saying dated when?
This one is dated, I've given a sample one, the most recent, which is of September 2021.
Dated when?
3rd September 2021.
Chair, Honorable Speaker, procedural matter. I would request, is it procedural right for us to start laying here samples? Because there must be, for you to have a sample, there must be original. Yeah, I've never seen us laying samples here, but it should be.
It is a circular. It is a circular which is given.
The one which was given to you would be much better if you
is
want.
Is the circular addressed to you?
Yes, to all board members. Also,
the circular is not addressed to you as a person. Yes, it is addressed to the 12th Board of Directors of NSSF. So this document is for everybody, not for you, Stephen.
Yes.
Are you a board member of the 12th Board of Directors?
Board. I was of the 11th board.
But why are you laying what is not meant for you? So you take back your document. We can take the one which was signed by Anita, appointment as a board member.
Yeah, and I I'll lay that which
There is
that
a
one which was
procedure
given
matter
to me.
here. So you retract the document from the record first. First retract your document.
I retract this one, and with
What are
unobtained
you
time,
retracting?
I am retracting the one of 3rd September 2021, and I will provide.
And what
with
is
time.
it?
This one is an instrument from the board, which gives this as an entitlement.
Right on, Speaker, the procedural issue I seek to raise, reading from the preamble of the presentation by our honourable colleague, it's as if his claim is that he was not heard.
There are two issues. Was he paid? Did he receive the money? And then the other one is a defense. That much as I received the money, you did not hear me. First of all, the question we should ask is, were you paid? That should be the first thing. Let him first finish his submission. Then we can now go, when we are debating, you'll ask your questions.
Right Honourable Speaker and members, under minute 1, of 187.9 of the NSSF.
Actually, what we are doing now is hearing the member. Because this is an extension of the committee. So we are giving him now fair hearing. So we will make a decision from this house on what the committee has recommended.
Right Honourable Speaker and members, under minute 1 of 187.9 of NSSF on standard contributions and entitlement, dated 2nd August 2011, that introduced the impugned deductions and entitlement to all members of the board who were not public servants and who were not above 55 years of age. It did it as an entitlement. So as and when you go to NSSF, you are given that as an entitlement, and it's part of the package. I also hereby lay on table, I beg to lay the minute, the minute as it was adopted, and the recommendation of the 11th, of 2011. So by the time I joined NSSF in 2019, this had started in 2011.
There's a procedure matter.
Right Honourable Speaker, the member is being heard on the merits of his arguments, and the documents is referring to, he's saying he's laying it. Ordinarily, when a document is laid here, it goes to the library and members have to access it, and yet we are about to debate. I want to move that the member reads all the documents word for word that is presenting to us here, to allow members make a fair judgment of what is presenting. For example, if he mentions that under a particular minute, it was agreed that all members of the board should contribute to NSSF, he should be able to refer to that particular clause in the minute so that we can follow and then we can debate.
Please go ahead.
All right, Honourable Speaker, if I may refer to the minutes of the board that sat on 2nd August 2011, that introduced this as an entitlement to the board, which is uploaded, I suppose. It says in 187.9, NSSF standard contribution for directors, informed the 3 directors who were eligible to pay NSSF standard contributions, namely Mrs. Jole Aripa Kirabo, Mr. Romano Ojambo Ocheng, and Mr. Richard Vigirwa. And the second minute says, noted that with effect from May 2011, 5% employee contributions were being deducted from the emoluments of the 3 directors, while the fund was meeting the employer's 10% contribution. So by the time I joined the board in 2019, this was ongoing. Right Honorable Speaker and members, the right to be heard means that a person must appear before an impartial tribunal, in this case the committee, before it proceeds to render such an adverse recommendation. Right Honorable Speaker, had the committee invited us, or invited me, I think they would have not come up with such recommendations. Committee recommendations. Committee recommendations. The recommendation, therefore, that all board members who received and continue to receive the 10% as part of their entitlement is an illegality, was arrived at in contravention of rules of natural justice. Had the committee afforded us that opportunity, the committee would not have been able to make such disparaging recommendations against me without being heard. Right Honorable Speaker, taxpayers' money has been expended on committee work, and their reports have been quashed by courts of law. There is a long list of decided court cases which have rendered committee work worthless. For instance, Mohammed Al-Bai versus Attorney General, miscellaneous cause number 217 of 2021, the High Court quashed the Kosase report on expropriated properties on grounds, among others, procedural impropriety, which includes
Honorable
failure
members, some order.
to accord a witness fair hearing. In other court cases like that of Honorable Joseph Murangira versus Attorney General, Constitutional Court Petition number 7 of 2014, Twino Businje Severino versus Attorney General, Constitutional Petition number 47 of 2011, the Constitutional Court declared null and void.
Yes, Dr. Bell.
Parliamentary Committee reports for contravening the rules of
He's
natural
finishing.
justice.
Let him finish. You're going to disorganize him
No, it's
more.
a small clarification.
Let him finish, then you make a clarification.
We need to preserve the integrity of this report by expunging our names from the report before Parliament adopts it. Otherwise, it is susceptible to being challenged before courts of law on grounds of not affording me a fair hearing. I thank you,
Honorable members, honorable members, honorable members, don't scare anybody. Don't scare anybody. Anybody is free to go and get redress from court. We are talking about savers' money. Did you get the money? And we are giving you a fair hearing now. We are giving you a fair hearing now, Stephen. And I want to refer you back to minute 187.9. NSSF standard contribution for directors. Informed that 3 directors were eligible to pay NSSF standard contribution, namely Jolly Aripa Kiravo, Mr. Romanio Ojambo Ocheng, and Mr. Richard Begirwa. Is any of you one of them? That is one. Maybe before we go further, let's look at recommendation 6. I would suggest we expunge recommendation 6. First of all, some of them have died. Fiona used to be my woman member of parliament. Egunyu.
I suggest, and I take your guidance, I think it's a movement in the right direction. My suggestion, however, for procedural neatness is to hear them, first discuss the merits, propriety or otherwise, of the entire action. For example, if we found that the deceased had taken our money illegally, we can go and pick the money from the estate. But we may also preempt and at the end of the day find that it was appropriate.
First study that recommendation and your advice.
I am alive, with your permission, Right Honourable Speaker. My view is that let's hear them and they tell us their stories. Then we start looking at
it. Is actually not related to our members. Recommendation 6. Onegi, ho?
Bear.
Those ones. So can we first hear from the second one? Honorable Werike, Honorable Kunihira. We will allow a debate on this. Members, calm down.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker.
Honorable Segona and Study 6.
I'm making my response in regard with the findings of the committee which made its report on 1st of March. Right Honourable Speaker, mine is on matter of natural justice and fair hearing. That whereas we participated in forming up this committee, I definitely knew that if there would be an issue that would come out, the committee would definitely want to get clarity and make this report well. But I missed that opportunity when they did that, so I was not able to raise some of these issues which I would want to say now. On the issue of appointment, Right Honourable Speaker, I was appointed on 4th February 2019, which I would like to lay. And that letter spells out that the minister shall make a remuneration for the board member who is being appointed. And in addition, before you finally get to sit on the board, again, you are supposed to be licensed by the regulator, UBRA. And this regulator is given these documents. I would like also to submit that the process.
Procedure,
like
Madam Speaker.
What are you laying on table?
Procedure.
Right Honourable Speaker,
Procedure, Madam Speaker.
that after receiving the appointment, you go through UBRA to get a license as a trustee. And on 3rd of May, after receiving my appointment letter, on 4th of April, on 3rd of May, 2019, I received a letter from UBRA, from the Corporation Secretary notifying me about UBRA. It states, we are here in the process of applying for your trustee.
The letter was addressed to who?
To Werika Christopher Peter.
Okay.
We are here in the process of applying for your trustee license to ensure compliance with the UBRA Act as per the process. We have completed the application forms on your behalf and now require you to append your signature on the application forms and statutory declaration subject to any other corrections signed by the Corporation Secretary. All these documents goes with the remunerations that have been granted by the minister. So, Right Honourable Speaker, what am I saying on this letter? It's UBRA is our regulator who goes through this process of governance. And the Honourable Minister who appointed me Minister of Finance, I am actually surprised that in the response, the Honourable Minister is jumping to respond on these sections, and yet is the one who appointed us.
Procedure, Madam.
And gave us
When
this
the
remuneration.
Honorable
Madam
Minister,
Speaker.
you are the one who appointed them. You
So
respond.
there was a skip
But
on
a procedural matter,
on
Madam
the
Speaker.
remuneration.
No, let's first hear from the minister. You sit down when your minister is.
Right Honorable Speaker and honorable colleagues, at the time of appointing the honorable members, I was holding forth as on behalf of Honorable Minister Kasaijja, as you have seen on the letters, the appointment letters that he's laid on table. However, we appointed him strictly to go and perform his duty, not to encroach on servants.
Honorable members, honorable members, honorable members, honorable Werike, honorable members, what is on the appointment letter? They're entitled to sitting allowance for every meeting of the board, a monthly retainer, and unappropriate duty facilitation allowance for local and foreign travels. All duly approved rates. All at duly approved rates. That is what is on the appointment letter. Can you continue? Let him finish.
On the entitlement of 10%, Right Honorable Speaker, this was a resolution made by the area board, which the following boards who are going there were just receiving. I was not have any meeting in a party that decided that I should earn 10%. So I received something which I found which was ongoing, and this was done by instrument of the minute of 2nd August 2011.
You read that. What is in the minute?
Where the board members, 187.9, NSSF standard contribution for directors, inform that their directors who are eligible to pay NSSF standard contributions, namely Jole Kiraba Alipa, Mr. Romano Ojambo Cheng, and Mr. Begirwa Richard. 2, noted that with effect from May 2021, 5% employee contribution were going to be deducted from emoluments of the 3 directors, while the fund was meeting the employees' 10% contribution. And this is what was set in 2011 and has continued to be updated. And has been continued to updated in again the remuneration of the board, which expires in 2024, which spells out on the issue of NSSF. So, Madam Speaker, in conclusion, Madam Speaker, I don't grant clarification.
Honorable Werike.
Right Honorable Speaker,
Honorable
and
Werike.
members, the select committee.
Honorable Werike, do you have a specific board minute which sets precedence for everybody, apart from the first 3? Do you have it?
This can be
because you're relying on a wrong minute. Let's have that minute which shows that out of this minute, the rest were supposed to benefit.
Right Honorable Speaker, when I showed this of 2029, is the current minute which is talking about the board expiry of 2024. This instrument, it grants these benefits up to 2024. So we just left in the
It grants benefits to who?
To the board members.
Who were mentioned? Who were mentioned in that?
This
in that
one was
minute?
mentioned, but in a board
Who
circular.
was mentioned to be a beneficiary, to be entitled?
at that time when their term expired, because it's a 3-year term, Right Honorable Speaker. In conclusion,
Aisha.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. In respect, and I pray that the colleague listens to me, in respect to the 3 directors you are reading, what was so special about them? Were you replacing them? We want to know the category of constituents of those people. Were you replacing them? Why only those 3 are they receiving such entitlement? Will help us understand, probably, why those who came later on received it. So would you clarify about those 3 directors?
Can we hear from the chairman first?
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Actually, even the 3 directors you are referring to, it was also illegal. Section 3(6) of the NSSF Act requires the minister to ensure that the persons he or she appoints to the NSSF board represent employers, are contributing employers under Section 7. This essentially means that those employers must be contributing to the NSSF and not for NSSF to contribute for the employees. Therefore, the contribution by the NSSF for members of the board is illegal, since there exists no employee-employer relationship.
Right Honorable Speaker, in respect with what Honorable Aisha has raised,
That has been responded to. Go straight to your report.
in conclusion, Right Honorable Speaker and honorable members,
Honorable members, please listen. Feta. Honorable Feta.
I still state that during the investigation, and were members who create this advocacy
Are you still on your report?
for the right to be heard, I was not given that opportunity to be heard, and therefore, this is what I've laid. I beg to
Thank
submit.
you. Thank you. Agnes. Members, you only debate. I thought you're a member of the committee.
I'm just I'm giving information.
Are you giving information?
Yes, yes. Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. When you look at page 8 of the report, the stakeholders that we met as a committee, it includes the workers' representatives, the members of parliament who are representing workers. We wrote to them, we invited them, and they came. And we gave them the terms of reference. So when they came, they didn't present this issue to us as a committee. So it's the board that gave us this information later on. So after the board giving us the information, we looked at the facts. Did they get the money or not? Was it right to get the money or not? That was our basis.
So the members appear to the committee.
Right Honorable Speaker, I want to get a clarification from my brother.
You don't.
Right. Right Honorable Speaker. Yes, the members did appear before the committee.
Honorable members, don't put personal feelings onto this thing. And as I told you, I know machineries in this house. And before we go for a debate, I want you to mention your name before you mention anything, so that the public knows who is for the savers and who is against the savers. Don't bring your personal feelings here. Let's look at a way of protecting the savers' money. This is a very hard-earned cash that you're just going to play because somebody has given you something kidogo. Stop it. We are going, you may stand up, mention your name, and debate so that the public knows who said what. Honorable Nathan. I picked you because you're busy with my muko.
Yeah, Madam Speaker, thank you so much. You see, what we're being presented is really a serious matter. And that's why I like to Honorable Asha's issue. What was the constraint? Now, that's why I wanted to make just small just a request to you, Madam Speaker, so that when we're going to those who are presenting, it will help us to understand. Under the NSSF Act, the moment you are 45 years and above, you don't contribute. And the board members who are coming in, what was the agreement and understand? Because they are coming and saying, we followed this, because I'm sure you're going to call another one. You say we are following the minute of 2011. We want a minute which refers to them and what is in the appointment letter, which my sister Anita raised and said, for me I gave you the letter not to go and encroach, but to go and work. So, Madam Speaker, my request is that if there are these members, if you believe that they need to make a case, maybe we ask the committee to look at their case at the committee level, so that when they come, so that when they don't, then when they come here, for us, we don't want to waste time with this report because we have already.
Let's hear the final one. The aspect of 45 years and below, and the aspect of a specific minute, as we have already said. Let's first hear.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable colleagues. I would beg that you listen to us, understand our case, and make the right judgment. I want also to inform members that I served on the board of directors, as a board of directors of the NSSF from June 2022 to May 2015. Appointed, no, sorry, correction, from June 2012 to May 2015, appointed by the Minister of Finance and Economic Development, Honorable Maria Chiwanuka. I was never involved at that time in determining our benefits as a board member. I therefore would like to state as follows, that the matter of 10% statutory contribution was settled under the said minute 187.9. I've had member questioning the issue of directors and non-directors and why 2 or 3. It was very clear that it should be only those below 55 years. And by that time, the chairman Sekono was above 55 years, was a retired public service employee. The other member representing workers, Mr. Kahirita, who has since died, was above. He was also above 55. That's how at that time it applied to only 3 directors who were below 45. The other 2 were statutory representatives of the ministry, the one of Ministry of Finance and the one of Ministry of Labor. And I know members, I want to request that you listen to us when we read this circular. For every board, after being appointed, management takes your appointment letters and gives you a detailed document of how your emoluments are going to be managed. They present the amount that you're supposed to get, but they also, let me read it out for you. Kindly note the following additional details. A retainer payments are paid on a monthly basis and directly to the director's respective accounts. Payee tax of 30,000 is deducted from each director. 30%. The NSSF contribution are deducted from eligible directors. Payments of government representatives are not affected by this tax. Seating allowance for all board sittings, ordinary and extraordinary, full board and committee meetings are processed quarterly after verifying attendance by way of directors sign off confirming attendance. Directors are paid a foreign travel allowance for every day of the scheduled training, including day travel. subsistence allowance is paid to directors for conducting fund business outside Kampala. I might not go into details. This is a standard document that the management of NSSF gives out to every individual. I wanted to make that clarification, honorable colleagues. Honorable colleagues, on my side, on my case, I was also mentioned. That was item 1 of statutory contribution of NSF. On my side, I was also mentioned under page 97 about the smart card system. Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable colleagues, my attention has also been drawn to the observation and recommendations of the committee in relation to smart card system. The report states that the project started in 2010, as clearly stated in that report. I was only appointed on the board in the year 2012, the month of May. Benchmarking study carried out in 2014 was not in any way intended to carry out due diligence or procurement processes. It was for members to appreciate the usage of the smart card system. The 3 board members were delegated by the board. Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable members, the committee has made a blanket recommendation without clearing the role of individuals in that procurement. I was not a board member by 2010. I left the board May 2012 before the contract was signed by Mr. Richard Byarugaba. Which contract, 2015, sorry, which contract was between NSSF and Madras for procurement of the smart card system on 22nd June 2015. Honorable members, I would like to lay on table the contract signed by Byarugaba and between NSSF and Madrasa Security Printers Private Limited on 23rd day of June 2015. I had since left in May 2015. I beg to lay. And I was surprised the community did not invest into all this matter, but identified a few members to be held responsible. The contract was between, yes. I beg to lay this contract between NSSF and Madrasa Security Printers Private Limited, 23rd day of June 2015.
Signed by who?
It is signed by Richard Byarugaba, Managing Director, in the presence of Richard Wejuli Wabwire, Corporation Secretary, between Madrasa Security Printers. The signatory is Asir Ratan Singh. I beg to lay on table. I therefore want to get clarification from the chairperson. What was the criteria used to selectively name individuals like me who never participated in procurement, due diligence, signing of the contract, and execution of the project? What was the motivation?
Honorable Agnes, did you happen to travel to Tanzania and Namibia on the procurement of the smart card? By any chance?
Right Honorable Speaker, Tanzania was a country that uses the process, the smart card. I did not go on the procurement process, neither did I go for due diligence.
Did you go to Tanzania and Namibia?
True, I traveled for a benchmarking study. Yes,
that
there
is
is
the
a
answer.
difference
That's answered. That
between
is the
benchmarking
answer.
and
As a
procurement and
as-
due diligence.
As a former body member,
And I hear
excuse me, Agnes. As a former body member, is a decision of the board a personal decision or a body decision?
Thank you, Speaker. That is a very good question. They have recommended 3 people. Every action of individual members on the board.
They have not recommended 3 people.
They have mentioned 3.
They have recommended 24 people.
They have recommended 3 people, and every
You have the
action.
document.
Yes.
I am talking about
Among the-
24 people. In the report, we only have 3 MPs who are affected in the House. The rest are not members of parliament. But they are saying the rest must pay.
Right, Honorable Speaker. We are talking about another item now. We are talking about smart cards, not the statutory deductions. I'm on the smart card. And that's what I'm saying. Out of that
So
list,
how many were you in that team of the smart
out of
card?
that list, there are only 3 board members. And the 3 board members acted on the interest of the full board. And the visit to Namibia was not to procure. It was a study tour. Tanzania and Namibia do not supply.
That finally led to the procurement. You finalize. Finalize.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, my question was on the basis of recommendation 27.
Honorable Kanusu, why are you disturbing Mpindi?
Mpindi is intimidating me as a member of the committee. I must say that.
I thought you're all members of disability.
Yes, but also disabilities know how to intimidate each other, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I beg for your protection from this disability man.
Honorable Mpindi. Honorable Stephen, now you're doing the job.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you.
Right Honorable Speaker, if only my sister would take her seat. I am seeking your procedural guidance because this is very critical in terms of what we call fair processes. On the one hand, there's a group of our colleagues saying there was no fair hearing because we were not heard. If we proceed without resolving that issue, it is going to continue coming back to haunt us because there is a group of board members, former board members, who are not members of parliament and who we are not going to hear today. Would it not be procedurally right first? We establish as a matter of fact, 1, whether these former board members were heard or not. And 2, the rules require that we receive the minutes, whether these questions were actually put to them. Before they come to stampede us with answers, we need to establish as a fact, were they invited by the committee? Were they asked about these very questions we are hearing today? Because the chairperson of the committee, who would speak for the committee, is in the House. I think if we do not ascertain this as a fact, we would be moving.
Council, why don't we finalize to get her statement and then we now go back and look at 1, there was an aspect of fair hearing. Yes. 2, there is an aspect of were these members employees of NSSF for them to be able to pay. That is under Section 11 and 12 of NSSF Act.
Madam Speaker, I'm very grateful.
Can we hear
However,
from
that
Agnes?
would be a discussion into the merits.
Let's hear from Agnes. Let her finish her submission. Agnes, conclude.
Thank you. Right Honorable Speaker. Honorable colleagues, I beg to lay the report on the study tour. Maybe as the Honorable colleague is suggesting, the chair may now have opportunity to review the right documents. I would like to seek clarification from the chair, Madam Speaker. Why was Richard Byarugaba, who signed the agreement, who did the procurement, who did the payment, why was he not included in all this list under the system, the smart card system? Why was he not included and yet he's the one who signed the agreement, the contract? Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Finally, Right Honorable Speaker, the chair has a lot of time. He should allow us to talk because he did not give us the time at the floor, at the committee level.
But Agnes, but did you go to the committee as a workers' representative?
They called me for another issue. They never asked any question. He's here. If he asked me anything to do with that matter, the smart card. Right Honorable Speaker, finally, the right to fair hearing in Uganda is well settled under Article 28, 42, 44 of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda, which provides that a person appearing before any administrative official body has a right to be treated justly and fairly. Honorable members, the select committee did not invite us to respond on all these allegations. I therefore want to appeal to members to afford us a fair hearing after getting the details that you have shared you. I beg to submit.
Honorable Member, I want you to tell us what you requested from the workers MP, what you expect, what you asked them to submit, and if you asked them to submit within what was in the terms of reference.
Thank you, Right Honorable. I would like to clarify on one issue before. The Honorable Member stated that this smart card was procured in 2010 before she was a board member. This is not true. Our report on page 97 states, Right Honorable Speaker and members, the NSF management in 2014 adopted the smart card concept. So it is not true that we said it was 2010. The report, you have the report on your iPads. 2014 she was a board member. The other issue I want to clarify on, she said, the Honorable Member stated that we didn't put Mr. Byarugaba. When you look at page, on that specific recommendation, the person who signed on behalf of Byarugaba was Miss Geraldine Sali Busuru, and she's number M, letter M. It was not Mr. Richard Byarugaba who signed. It was the Deputy Managing Director at that time. And she has also been included in the recommendations. Yes. Right Honorable Members, Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable Members, you can check that recommendation. The last letter M was Miss Geraldine Sali, who signed, and that is also attached in your annexes. It was not...
Honorable Speaker, Honorable Speaker,
Yes,
the agreement that she has laid on the table, she has read that the one who signed is Richard Byarugaba. Can we get clarity on that?
Can we get yours, which talks of Geraldine?
Thank you. Thank you so much. Her claim is that out of the whole board, only 3 have been accused, have been cited. And according to what you have read, actually, the matter was approved by the entire board. Her question, why didn't you accuse the whole board? Because Byarugaba was also one of them. How many, and in fact I wanted to know from her, how many of the board members, how many other people are left out? We want to know how many are left out. Why didn't you accuse the whole board?
Right, Honorable Speaker and Honorable Members. That recommendation reads, the committee recommends that the IGG should investigate all persons. Investigate. It means even others can be included. However, these are the ones who participated, who flew to do due diligence, who did what. These are the ones we could capture. But the recommendation is not limited. The IGG is going to investigate. And if there's any other person involved, that person will also be implicated in this report.
Were the three members of the Finance Committee of the board?
Well, they can tell you, but they're the ones who traveled.
Clarification.
Clarification.
Chair.
Madam Speaker and honorable members, I have advantage that I worked with Biarugaba and I know his signature. And the good thing, the contract I'm having here, which was signed long when I had left, because it was signed on 23rd June 2015. I had left the NSF board. And that means before procurement, no activity was being implemented. And it is signed by Biarugaba. And I read the names. You asked me to read, and I laid it here. You want another copy? I laid it here.
Right, Honourable Speaker. Procedure.
So what are you laying again?
He has asked for it.
It was laid.
Right, Honourable Speaker. You see, I am a prisoner of knowledge and the propriety of processes. And I want to insist for the record, there is no way we can proceed in these back and forth explanations without ascertaining fundamental questions. The first fundamental question was, were these honorable members and other former board members invited, listened to, and asked these specific questions? And now, where we are with this ping pong, we want the minutes. Number two, and to me, this is not about substantive.
The minutes were laid the other day when the report was laid. Honorable Mpaka, the issue of fair hearing.
Right, Honorable Speaker and Honorable Members.
Before Mpaka.
Right, Honorable Speaker, as the Honorable Mpaka addresses the issue of fair hearing, it is also important for you to help the committee to ascertain who was responsible for this mess.
Which mess?
This payment, this illegal payment.
Yes.
Because like it or not, all indications that these payments are illegal, were our colleagues part and parcel of the process of these illegal payments, or they were beneficiaries of an illegal process. And because we must be very clear on that. If they were mere beneficiaries, how do we treat them? And then what happens to those who occasioned the illegal payments? I just clarified that.
Right, Honorable Speaker and Honorable Members.
I think.
Yes, Richard.
Just.
Richard.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker, and the House at large. The Honorable Segona has just raised one of the issues, which is very fundamental. We have other fundamental issues, Madam Speaker. First, the ascertainment of whether these board members were in employment of service or not. The issue of eligibility for the 15% standard contribution is clearly by law under Section 6 of the NSSF Act. Now, Madam Speaker, the NSSF Act does not clearly define an employee, but an employee has been defined under the Income Tax Act.
The NSSF Act Section 11 defines who an employee is. check 11 and 12 and defines who is eligible.
Yes, I
to-
have
to
looked at them,
contribute.
Madam Speaker. But when you go to the definitions under section 1, section 1, subsection 1, I mean I, an employee should be an employee in Uganda and is ordinarily resident in Uganda. But I want to draw the house to the definition of an employee.
Are we still looking at fair hearing?
Yeah, not fair hearing.
No, what the Honorable Segona said. Let's first sort out the issue of fair hearing. Then we'll now go to whether these members were part of the employees of NSSF.
Most obliged, Madam Speaker.
Yes,
Thank you, Right Honourable.
strictly on fair hearing.
Right Honourable, as we because we are Honourable Agnes is on the floor, and we wanted
She's
to.
not on the floor.
And
She finished her submission. We are now giving her responses.
yes. So, Right Honourable Speaker, in the fair hearing, because a member has insinuated that some of these other people that are being left out possibly could have had the hearing, and these that are implicated we are not heard. Because, Right Honourable Speaker, the process of smart card does not begin and end with the signature. There was the whole beginning, the initiation, the travel, procurement, allowing everything. So looking at only the signature alone is not enough for us to conclude that this one.
Honorable Mpaka, can we respond on fair hearing?
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Honorable members, as I informed you, Attorney General versus Fox Odoy Constitutional Petition 34 of 2013. The right to be heard is limited to the opportunity to be heard. Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable members, the honorable colleagues here are beneficiaries of a board decision. The board that took this decision was given a right to be heard. The board appeared before the committee. The board testified. The current board, the 12th board, the board testified that they were receiving this money and they agreed that it was illegal because there's no employee-employer relationship. Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable members, these committees do work on your behalf. If at all you think, because our recommendation was to recover the savers' money, if at all you think those that we did not meet, much as we are aware they received this money, should not refund, it is entirely up to you. Because we met, of the total number of the board members, we met all the members of the current board. And they are also included here. And we asked them on this specific matter. I beg to submit.
Right Honourable issue. With your permission.
Honorable Mutembule Nathan Fox.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, we are talking about a very serious issue of natural justice. And this has nothing to do with the merits. And if we don't handle it carefully, we are likely to waste our time here, come up with the recommendations, and they will be quashed. The issue of saying that the board, the 12th board came and appeared, and he told us this and the other. And then we are talking about the members who of the 10th, 11th board. There are issues, Right Honorable Speaker. You ought, and this should go to all of us, the committee chairpersons, that every time you're going to make a recommendation and it's going to affect an individual, you must give that individual an opportunity to be heard. We shall debate, look at all these issues, and what will happen, the matter goes to court and the recommendations are quashed, and we would have wasted a lot of our time. May I advise and move that this particular recommendation that we are talking about, that is affecting the members of parliament, have the opportunity now to say something. What about those other ones who have been mentioned and did not say anything. They were not heard, they were not given opportunity. Right, Honorable Speaker, this is a serious matter. Before even start thinking about the merits of the report, we must have this resolved, and if we don't resolve it well, the recommendations and the entire report is likely to be quashed on that.
Honorable Fox.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, permit me to take you through the ingredients of the non-derogable right to a fair hearing. When a person is accused, that person has to get an invitation to be heard. There must be a charge that they can understand that lays out the allegations made against them so that they can prepare their defense. They must be given time, reasonable time, to prepare and present their defense. Now, Right Honorable Speaker, what is apparent is that there's an illegality on the record. What is also apparent is that the honorable members of parliament and the other board members were not accorded a fair hearing within the ambit of the law. And Right Honorable Speaker, this is such a critical report that we must preserve. We must do all it takes to preserve this report. Can I plead, Right Honorable, that we stand over the debate on only this part?
We are not standing over any debate. Have you heard?
I have heard, Right Honorable.
Honorable members,
Madam Speaker.
One thing we must know, these members did not pay themselves. A decision was not taken by them to pay them. We must hold the persons who paid them culpable. If the person who paid them wants to recover from them, then he should recover from them. Yes, Nathan.
Thank you very much.
There's a procedural matter
Madam
here. Procedural matter.
Right Honourable Speaker, in light of the issue of fair hearing that has been raised by my senior colleague,
Order.
the Honourable Fox Odoya and the Honourable Segona and Honourable Mutembuli, wouldn't it be procedurally right, Honourable Speaker, this particular recommendation asking our colleagues to pay the money to be expunged from the report?
We cannot expunge this recommendation. The person who did the payment must pay the money.
And I was amending.
You amended the recommendation, but
yes,
not expand it.
Because it is potentially, it can infect the entire report. Because there is issue of fair hearing, it can infect the whole report. It is my humble submission, Right Honourable Speaker, that whoever was responsible for the illegal payments be made accountable. Whoever took the decision, because these were mere beneficiaries, whoever took the decision to pay our colleagues and the others who cannot have an opportunity to appear here should be personally liable and do good the damage that was occasioned.
Right,
Odur.
Procedure.
Odur.
Procedure.
There is a procedure from
Procedure.
Odur. There was a procedure from Odur.
Right Honourable Speaker, thank you very much for the opportunity. The procedural matter I'm raising, first is twofold. The members had asked to come to the floor to make personal statements so that they can be heard by this House, which I think the House has received. Now what is important is now for us to go and debate. Each individual member of Parliament here, having heard from two sides, can then make contribution whether the submission by the honorable members here amounts to the infringement on their rights to be heard, or their submission here is enough to convince us to proceed. When it comes to the recommendation, we can therefore propose
one, that as we speak now, it is premature for us to conclude whether the payment was illegal or legal. That's number one. Number two, when we reach somewhere and find that it was illegal, then I would move in to support the Honorable Asuman Basalirwa, as guided by your good office or your good chair, that the person who took that illegal decision pays. It has been conceded in the communication of my able young honorable friend, the chair, who did a very thorough report, by the way, for which I congratulate him and his team, that what they did, they invited the current board. Now, inevitably, the current board spoke for the previous board members. Now that would raise some issues. And I don't want people to be stampeded by the threat of court will quash our report. No, that will bog us down. Let us be stampeded by our conscience that we are doing the right job and doing it rightly. In other words, even without anticipating that court might do something, we must convince ourselves that we are doing the right thing and the right way. I would move, therefore, and suggest, one, that we have resolved the issue of invitation and hearing. Now, with the debate, we can move. Don't take me to that. We have convinced ourselves as to the propriety of the process and where we are so far. Let's examine whether the payment was illegal or not before we conclude. I beg to move.
Honorable Nathan was on the floor.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, when you're a board member, you are the policy maker. You are the one who makes the law in that organization. And if the board member made a policy to pay themselves, it is an illegal policy. And if you benefit from an act which you know it is wrong, then you have committed a what? A crime. And I want to state from that on onset that if there are board members who knew that they are doing a wrong thing and continue with it, in fact, it's like being got with a stolen thing, you're a thief. So, Madam Speaker, there's nothing we should shy from. What we must interrogate, one, what was paid in the letter of appointment of your emoluments? If they paid you anything from outside that, did you question? If you never questioned, then you participated in the theft. That's number one. Number two, Madam Speaker, I want to ask the chair of the committee, please don't lose your head. You have done a good report. I know you're about to lose this your report. But what I want to put across is that there's where we delegate. If I'm the boss and I delegate, I remain accountable and held reliable. Now, if Byaruhanga delegated Sali, Byaru? If Byarugaba delegated Nasali, whatever the case is Sali, you cannot only mention Sali and leave also making it in bold letters Byarugaba. Because
I'm giving my senior colleague, Honorable Nandala, information. Byarugaba didn't delegate the powers, but he was out of office. His contract had not yet been renewed. So Geraldine Sali was the acting managing director during that time.
Thank you very much. If that's the case, now that's where you draw us to another point, Madam Speaker. That's why we would need to interrogate. From when did the process begin? And from when did it what? End? Because the one who started it, he may not have been the one who concluded it. But if he had started it wrongly, even if the one who concluded it wrongly, but the one who initiated it must be held liable. So, Madam Speaker, I want to agree with your statement of saying that the one who paid be held also liable. That is a true statement. But also the one who got it when knowing it is wrong must be held what? Liable. Under Article 164 of our Constitution of Uganda, it clearly states that if you occasion a loss, whether you're still in office or you have left office, you will be personally what? Liable. So I will not get intimidated by anybody saying that the court will quash the report. No. What we can do to avoid that, even we say all board members who benefited from this must be held what? Liable.
Thank you, Honorable Nathan. I am opening the debate. Beta Mongi says she's coming. Let's debate. She will make up. Her report is on the order paper. I mean, it's uploaded. We will not make a decision, but let's debate. Elder. Two minutes.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity. I have basically 4 areas to comment on. One, to commend the management and board of NSSF for raising My name is James Baba. I represent the people of Komoko County. I want to commend the NSSF board and management for growing the fund from 1.7 to 17.9 trillion. I think that's a commendable job we should recognize. Number 2, I'm not one of those who wants to hang Minister Mongi. Although she tried all her level best to access 6 billion outside the requirements, she did not succeed. There is nowhere in the report which mentions that Minister of Gender got the 6 billion money. But I want to commend her for blowing the whistle that there was a problem in NSSF management, and the select committee has vilified her for that position. Number 3, mainly on the abuse of workers' money, savings. There was mention of 1.8 billion for board members. There was mention of use of suspend account money, 57 billion. There was mention of payment of VAT of 5.7 billion, which was not required to be paid, but that money was paid. Nobody knows where it went. But there was no requirement to pay that money. There was mention of...
You're saying nobody knows where the 1.8 went?
No, the 5.7 VAT money. There was no requirement to pay that money, but it was paid. So who chewed that money?
Thank you, thank you.
Lastly, Madam Speaker, on investments in West Nile Club, that money must be written off. It was a poor investment. And on Ego Bail,
Honorable members, it is not our role as Parliament to recommend that we write off that amount of money. Let's not mislead the country, Elder.
Then mention of Onego Bell, that a man who was chairman of the board was arrested, imprisoned, prosecuted, and was finally cleared by the anti-corruption court. A man cannot be tried twice for the same offense. I beg to submit. Thank you.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Honorable members, keep your calm. At the end of the day, we'll know who is a machinery and who is not. Honorable Kibalia.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
If there is an attempted rape, you will be prosecuted.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, we are debating an issue that concerns this nation. And this is people's money. Somebody who has his money to go there and begin playing around with people's money, we cannot entertain, as the senior is saying. In fact, my first prayer, Right Honorable Speaker, I wish somebody could take this message to the President. There is no way a better investigation will go on when the minister concerned is still the minister overseeing the program. Let the President do justice to this country, ask the minister to step aside as investigations continue. In the same spirit, Right Honorable Speaker, on most occasions, the police has arrested people here that is suspecting somebody to be committing a crime in the next few minutes. There are people here who stole money. There are people here. You can't tell me that the MDB Arugaba is still moving around and some of these people cannot be in prison. This is criminal. There is glaring evidence that people stole money. Let other investigations go on because there is this other gentleman in Kazinda. Kazinda was put in as investigations were continuing and as they were prosecuting others. Let some of these people, there are these four, first be arrested. We move on as we continue investigating. Lastly, Right Honorable Speaker, our colleagues, some of these could be witnesses. They will help us. You get it? They will help us in our investigation. But let the key people, whoever was responsible for stealing money, sharing money, eating money, this board, let this board be in prison, Right Honorable Speaker.
Say chance.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I want to thank you and my chairman on the Committee of Health for letting me benchmark in Rwanda. For sure, Rwanda is developing at a very high speed. Why? Because they have zero tolerance to corruption. Madam Speaker,
say chance.
Really,
just it is not your chair who gave you to go and benchmark. It is Parliament of
Uganda. Right Honorable Speaker, indeed what is disturbing here, we tolerate corruption. However, our committee mentioned the names of our colleagues here, but I don't know why again they didn't invite them for inquiries at the committee level, yet they mentioned their names here. So we need also to dig into that. It's also a kind of corruption. Thank you.
Honorable, maybe just for your information, this is an extension. This is a committee of the whole house. This is an extension of the other committee. That committee that sat there is part of our committee. So there is no corruption in our committee. If the committee is corrupt, then you are corrupt. You are corrupt yourself if the committee is corrupt. So never say that our committee is corrupt, because they are not. They are doing work for and on behalf of this parliament and on your own behalf. Emily?
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. I'm Dr. Emily Kugonza, Member of Parliament for Buyanja East County. I want to appreciate the committee for the great report. But I want to look at what happened in 2011, the minute that has been referred to. That's where the big problem started, where they made a decision to remunerate the board. And yet the remuneration of the board is a preserve of the Minister of Finance. And I think anybody who was a board member of NSSF from 2011 who has been benefiting from this particular resolution must be held culpable, and as a parliament, we really need to, because first of all, the law is very clear how the terms of the board are set. If you are given a responsibility that you set your own terms, which is against the law, then you are certainly responsible. And then also, the other point I would like to make is in reference to corporate governance, the governance of the entire NSSF. If you look at the law, you have the minister who appoints the board. Again, the minister appoints the managing director. The right way should have been that the minister appoints the board, and the board puts in place the managing director, and the managing director responds to the board. And then we would be able to solve many of these other issues that are rising in the authority. I beg to submit.
Members, look at the amendment that the Honorable Emily is bringing on board. Chair, I hope you've heard.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Mention your name before you make a submission so that we have it on record that this is the person.
Yes, my name is Chalangatalinga Solomon. I represent the people of Tor County in Bukwa District. I want to join colleagues, Right Honorable Speaker, in congratulating the chair and his team for that brilliant report. However, I have one item that I got some concern. In the report, there was somewhere where one supervisor, head of business, was supervising his close relatives in his office. That shows, Right Honorable Speaker, that there must be a lot of problems in as much as recruitment of staff in NSSF is concerned. I would propose, Right Honorable Speaker, that we include an item where we have human resource audit for the whole NSSF, such that we get to understand how the recruitment has been done from henceforth. Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker.
There is an aspect of forensic audit. Yes. It must be a forensic audit on NSSF, not particularly on suspense account. It should be on NSSF. Sanoni?
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable, I want to thank you.
Who are you?
You had mentioned earlier. My name is Wire Sanon Nadeva, MP for Bulamoji Kaliro. Right Honorable, I want to thank Parliament for having the zeal to save and protect the savers' money. Right Honorable, I want to commend the work of the committee, because when you look at the time we gave them and the quality of the report, if we had given them more time, I don't think we would even need a forensic audit. I want to thank you. Right Honorable, there is an issue which was passed by the 10th Parliament. And this Parliament passed this law that this very fund should be supervised by the Minister of Gender and Finance. Right Honorable, the committee has recommended that the responsibilities should almost go back to the Minister of Finance. Right Honorable, we have suffered.
That is not a recommendation. What the committee is saying, on the appointment of the MD, it should be done by the Minister of Finance, and then the corporate governance on the issues of the board, it should be done by gender.
Yeah, Right Honorable.
Draw management.
Yes, that one should be upheld, because what was in the circles, that the responsibility of this fund should move away from the Minister of Gender. Then lastly, Right Honorable, when you look at
and actually what you're saying, that is the amendment that Honorable Emily was bringing on board.
Yeah. When you look at NSSF, problem.
Jackson.
Right Honorable, the problems have been in NSSF for a very long time. And when the committee came up to clarify to us about the issues of the board and the management, I think that is where the biggest problem is. That is the board and this other.
Thank you.
Yes. Jackson Lee.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. My name is Atima Jackson Lee Buti, representing Arua Central from Arua City. I start by thanking the committee for doing a commendable job. I have few points to raise. One, the board members' composition. I believe if we can have gender parity with positions of vice chairperson being provided for, this will avoid some of the challenges where when the chairperson is not there, somebody jumps in to act. Two, this board should reflect national outlook with the 12 members covering the 4 major regions in this country: Western, Central, Eastern, and Northern Uganda should be represented in the 12-member membership. Lastly, Parliament should directly approve the budget of NSSF. 18 trillions being managed by one minister, I think is a disservice to this country. Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Lee. The issue of national character must come in. Musomesa. Xavier.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. I'm called Choma Xavier, MP Ibanda North. I want to thank the committee for the work well done. Likewise, Right Honorable Speaker, I want to thank you. When you look at the terms of references you gave to the committee, that term of reference of examining the corporate governance of the fund is very, very paramount. And all these issues being identified in the report, it is because the operations of the fund are devoid of the corporate governance principles. Just imagine where a ministry approves the rest of the issues in the budget and pens the investment decision in the budget by imposing conditions. And that is one ministry, yet it was the responsibility of the ministry. I think, Right Honorable, even the dual supervision has a problem in itself. Look at an issue where 11 billion was lent to Uganda craze. Unsecured loan, it increased up to 24. They have only recovered 221 billion, or rather million. Virtually, they have recovered nothing. Remember, it is not secured. If it was a fund observing total corporate governance principles, all this would not be done. The governance would be doing its work, management doing its work, the ministers doing their work. So I want to thank you very much, but it is my prayer that out of this report, we address the governance issues at the fund. And it is also my prayer that the recommendations in this report actually be implemented by those who are responsible. I thank you.
Thank you. Isaac.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for this opportunity. I'm Ituka Isaac Joaquino, the Member of Parliament for Upper Mari County. Right Honorable Speaker and members, when we look at the issue of NSSF, the taxpayers' money, the savers' money, it is a very big challenge that the poor Ugandans have lost billions of money, which in fact must be refunded at all costs. Madam Speaker, the issue of suspense account was prominent in this report. And I wonder how NSSF, with all the machinery in the place, the staff and what have you, would say that there are people who cannot be traced, and yet they have been receiving this money. These are people who come from various organizations. I think if you have someone whom you think is not there, you can follow this person through the organization for which this person has been working. And I think, Madam Speaker, there's a deliberate move in NSSF to see that some people are just eliminated and this money is shared among the people who are in these offices. I pray that all those whose funds have been in suspense account should be followed so that the owners get the money which belongs to them. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you so much. What is on suspense account is the unclaimed funds that we may need to open the veil and know who are these people who did not claim for their funds and yet they were beneficiaries. Feta, Faith.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. My name is Feta Geoffrey. I represent the people of Ivo Division East in Arua City. I have two issues. One, the mismanagement of NSSF in NSSF of the Savers Fund is a replica of what is happening in this country in very many MDAs. Unfortunately, we come here, we talk about it, but we don't have the opportunity to implement many of these recommendations that we make. We had an opportunity to go to Lusaka with the chairperson of PAC, funded by Parliament. And in the House, they are given 60 days for the executive to implement the recommendations that are made by the House. Now, when you look at the funds involved that have been squandered, and you look at the state of the savers struggling to access 10 million shillings, struggling to access 30 million shillings, struggling to access 40 million shillings, and yet people are sharing 250 million shillings at ease. And this House must sit here and accept that it is okay. When they decided to pay themselves, it is okay. And therefore, we should accept that we should not give them period of natural justice, so that at the end of the process, it can be quashed. And then we waste our time. Two, the chairperson was telling us here and recommending that the investment which was made, I picked from his report, that the investment which was made in 2003 of 2.3 billion should be written off. We have had his report.
That's not what the chair said. That was Honorable Baba, not the chair. Don't put those words in the chair's report. Are you withdraw? Withdraw that statement.
If it is not true, I withdraw. But I want to say this.
Don't say if it is not true.
Okay,
it is not
I
true.
do. Right Honorable Speaker, I do withdraw. Can I give you information? Yes.
You are not the speaker. Faith. Next is Faith.
Thank you very much. I'm Dr. Magolo, John Faith. I'm the Member of Parliament for Bungoko North. I commend highly the committee and the chair for the report and all its details. And I pray that at the end of the day, if there are hiccup here and one and or two, they can still be removed and the still report remains intact because it does not remove the value that it has. Whereas there is a commendable job that the NSSF did to raise the savers' money to 18.3% in the last 5 years. If that trend continued, that means that it could have been greater if due diligence was done. But now this means that it was not done because of all the investments they attempted to do as have been revealed in the report. When we look at the Uganda Clays Limited, giving them unsecured loan, which has accumulated to a loss of 24.8 billion shillings. And out there on the trading world, when Uganda Clays posts how they are doing well, how they are the best local construction and all that business company, it defeats our understanding when we begin seeing this. And when we look at the issue of investing in the real estate, which was seemingly a good idea, a good business plan, making good business sense on paper, and when it comes, we see all this where you put three. No one is occupying them. That does not bring out a good business sense. And yet we talk about NSSF, when we look at it, we are seeing having good and seasoned businessmen. When they stand to speak, we see them speaking business. When it comes to reality, where are we heading as a country? In final analysis, I actually concur with every detail of what the committee has recommended. If there are any shortcomings, they should be dealt with, but the report still speaks to the aspirations of every Ugandan who wants to see good progress. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Right Honourable Speaker.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Mamawi James is my name, Member of Parliament for Juman East constituency.
After James, we have a Chan. Then we have Okini.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, I want to thank the committee chair and the members for the report. Right Honourable Speaker, we have given a chance for everybody to give their versions. On behalf of my people, Right Honourable Speaker, and on my own behalf, I happen to be also one of the savers with the NSSF. And when we look at what is happening here, I sometimes ask myself, do we really have the money? Much as the paperwork is saying NSSF has grown from this to this, but do we have this money? Is the question which we need to ask ourselves about. Because looking at the trend the money is taking, I'm a bit worried, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, the Honourable Minister Kasaijja has given a defense here because he was one of the person who was accused here. And he was ably represented by our sister, Honorable Anite. And from there, he was agreeing with the report of the committee about what the NSSF was doing. But the Ministry of Finance is one of the supervisors, is the body which supervises the NSSF. Now, are they aware of what is taking place in the NSSF? If they are aware, why have they not taken decision over this matter? Right Honourable Speaker, members were paid without the law. They have undergone the law because the law said these are the people to be paid, but they went ahead to pay other members a certain percentage, and the body itself and the technical persons did not take into consideration or looked into this matter until it was discovered by the committee. Meaning there is an issue between the board and the technical officers. So I was asking, when we sat here, I was asking if there is a need for recovery. The board has mistakes, and at the same time, the technical officers have mistakes. Who is going to recover this? Because the committee what is saying, let this person step aside, let the minister step aside. And now, are we going to have someone in the NSSF office to take charge of the office? Because we are saying everybody has issues, Right Honourable Speaker. I thank you.
The office is only not managed by one person. It's an institution, a very big institution. So never get worried that the institution will be left alone.
Thank you.
Judith?
Thank you, the Right Honourable Speaker. Madam Speaker, my name is Judith Pisachan. I represent the people of Noya District. Madam Speaker, in the report, I quoted one part of the report where the report indicates the MD at that time indicates that he was under due pressure to approve the budget, the money. Right, Honorable Speaker, I do not want...
It is not the MD who approved the money.
The minister was putting him under pressure to approve. I do not want the House or you, Madam Speaker, for someone to allege that you are putting him or her under pressure without any evidence. And the committee did not lay the evidence before the House for us to scrutinize. And if there was unlawful payment to board members, Madam Speaker, that is negligence of duties of a responsible officer at that particular time. So I would beg to submit that we stand liable for any misconduct, any negligence of duty of our offices. I beg to submit.
Maybe for your information, there was a letter in regard to the 6 billion shillings that we are talking about. The letter was written to the MD and was authored by the Lines Minister. So we are not making any mistake per se. We are acting within the law with the evidence that we have on paper. Okin PP.
Thank you.
PP.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. My name is Okin PP Ojara. I represent the people of Chua West, Kidgum District. Madam Speaker, I want to talk about the external interference in the NSF governance system. When you read the report, there was a big mention of names. For example, of the coordinator of Operation Wealth Creation. It was mentioned in the report, yes. But the committee, I think his name is General Salim Saleh. It was just an injection in the report. But I don't know why the committee did not find it
prudent.
Did
you hear it from the report?
Yes, Madam Speaker, I have it here.
Which
I
page?
can quote.
Just help us. Which page?
In the executive summary. In the let me just be honest.
Executive summary
at the
is
executive
got from
summary,
the main report.
They made mention that a petition, just let me quote, a petition was given to the Operation Wealth Creation coordinator. His name was mentioned. So I just want to find out from...
The chair is here. Is that correct?
Right, Honorable Speaker and Honorable Members, there's no mention of the name General Salim Saleh in the report. There's only, in the WhatsApp chat, there's only the initials, Jen, J-E-N.
Madam Speaker, Madam Speaker, I have the report here. At least the coordinator of the Operation Wealth Creation's position was mentioned in the report.
No, it is not correct.
Secondly, Madam
it's
Speaker.
Not correct. That is not, don't mislead the House. That is not correct. Make a submission on something else, but not what you're thinking about.
However, Madam Speaker, petitions were given. The report quoted petitions being given to the Prime Minister. Is that also not correct?
Whom are you asking?
To
whom are you asking?
To the Prime Minister, and then also to the President.
I am still asking you.
But unfortunately,
be a gentleman enough.
Okay.
I am saying, whom are you asking whether it was not correct or it is correct?
I was trying to refer to, because now the chairman was also responding when I was debating.
When you are in this house, you address the chair. And the chair is the speaker.
Okay, through you, Madam Chair. Through you, Madam Chair. Through you, Madam Chair, Madam Speaker. The President's name was mentioned, that a petition was given to him. the Prime Minister's name was mentioned that a petition was given to him, to her. Through you, Madam Speaker, we have not heard the chairperson of the committee mentioning that these people were interviewed as well. And their views actually what? Collected and given to the report.
There is an order from the minister.
Then lastly,
there is an order from the
Madam Speaker.
There is an
Sit down.
there is an order from the minister.
What is wrong with you?
From Honorable.
Thank you, Madam. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I think we have been so patiently in this House as members of this House, scrutinizing for the last submission by the Chair and today's summary about this report. Madam Chair, if a member has not been following the report on this floor, and then you come to jumble and trying to confuse the entire Parliament, is it in order to bring in the name of the General in this kind of conversation? Is it in order?
I don't even know the General you're talking about, and of course it's not in order.
Thank you.
You're dragging in the President, you're dragging in the Prime Minister, you're dragging.
Okay.
PPPP.
Can I
Thank
just
you
conclude
very much,
now?
Madam.
Can I conclude, Madam Speaker?
If you are not PPP, said
Honorable, there is only one PPPP.
exactly.
Yes.
You can now sit down and listen.
Members listen to PP.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. My name is Okot Santa, MP for Aru North constituency.
A president of PPP.
And the president and everything. Madam Speaker, I rise to thank the committee for the report that they have brought to the House. But also I want this Parliament to take note that this is not the first time that NSSF has been found into this kind of saga of removing or stealing money from NSSF, which is money for the savers. It happened at the time when Joy Bakoko Bakoro was a minister. The same thing happens between the board of NSSF and the minister Joy Bakoko Bakoro. And we can confirm this, that indeed Joy Bakoko Bakoro could have had a hand into the NSSF fund because she ran away outside the country. Madam Speaker, it is a high time that we stand our ground to find a way of how to pick the members of the board of the NSSF. Otherwise, we are going to continue with this problem until the people we represent will complain on us. The second issue I want to bring out is that we must have a very, very strong policy. Why is it that these issues are not happening in other boards and commissions of other ministries? This money does not belong to anybody. The money belongs to the savers. And the savers outside there are really suffering. If today I hear about some money which is put aside in a separate account, saying that the money could be for some people who have disappeared, some people who have already died, the board of NSSF should find out the people whose money is being kept in a separate account. Last year, I had a gentleman whose son passed on. I came with his card to NSSF. I failed to get the explanation from NSSF. They wanted the man to come. The man came, and then they said, because the mother of the children were already not there, but the children was with this man, of the son who died. They said they wanted the woman to come for the money. I told NSSF, this man has come here twice. Take the percent of the lady away because the woman is in South Sudan, but the man has children. Give the percentage of the children to the man. NSSF could not handle that until the man went back and he has given up. I am sure the money which is in separate account is the money of our people who have given up because they have worked many times to access the money and they cannot. So in that file of the people who are not there, I am sure the next of kins are there, and you know the home of the people, the villages, they know. They must trace these people and pay back their money.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Emmanuel Martin, Gabriel. Members, I'm coming.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. I am Emmanuel Ongierto Jor, the MP for Jonam in Pakwach District. Madam Speaker, I want to start by thanking the committee for a report well done and for a job well done. Madam Speaker, we are having problems with NSSF because it seems they have endless monies. They have monies that do not get defined in terms of how much they are. You may be mentioning this, but the money is too much for some of these people to handle. And I now see why people don't want to leave offices there, even when their term expires, because they know what they are getting from there. And they know for sure that the monies that get lost is so little that it's like a drop in the ocean. And they would believe that probably somebody would not get them. Yes, this time we may have got them in the areas where the terms of reference was defined, but I know for sure that monies have been lost even in areas that may not have been covered by the terms of reference. That's why I accept to the recommendation about a forensic audit, and that may probably go and discover other things. And Madam Speaker, for me this money should be reduced. And how? I want to accept the recommendations they have given, but I also want to add that the age for accessing this money should also be reduced. So that the money is not too much for people to swim in it. I submit. Thank you.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Right. Martin Mapendus.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. I join my colleagues in thanking the chair of the committee for doing a wonderful job. And Honorable Mpaka, I want to say I'm proud of you. You have done a good job. Right Honorable Speaker, a thing like this is a litmus test to this House. And especially when some of our colleagues are mentioned in the report to have received money irregularly. There are those who think that those members should have been invited before the committee. I have a contrary view. I don't think the committee needed to invite them because they did not decide in giving money to themselves. But the finding is that they actually received money irregularly. There was a group that decided to give money and that decision was not correct. And so, it is right for the committee to say those who receive monies that they should have not received should pay back. They should pay back. Yes, we are talking about people who took the decision. They should be held liable. But there are people we know who got the money that they should have not got. They should pay that money back. I can see there is a member, Honorable Wairike, who received 37,014,341. Should pay that money back. There is another one, a Kunira, 12,430,000. Pay that money back because, you know, Right Honorable Speaker, the challenge we have, why I call this a litmus test, the people out there, the citizens who are following us, know that we are likely to be timid because Right Honorable Speaker, just to conclude, if we want to show to Ugandans that we care about the savers, it has to start with us. So, honorable members, if the problem is that 7 days that you have to pay, the money is too short, then you have to negotiate on a longer repayment schedule. That is it. Otherwise, this money has to be paid back. The committee should be appreciated for what they have done. Thank you, Right Honorable.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. You mentioned my name. I'm Mukumu Gabriel, Member of Parliament for Koro County in Zombo District. I would like to thank the chairperson for the ad hoc committee for the report, and would like to assure you that Parliament is behind you. I would also like to thank the Speaker. Fighting corruption is not a simple matter, I know very many people would be looking for your shadows instead. About the recommendation, Right Honorable Speaker, I would like to recommend that Parliament adopts the whole recommendation, and the officers responsible for its implementation should move on to implement the recommendations. Secondly, Right Honorable Speaker, NSSF in some cases pays very low interest rates to the savers. I would like to request Parliament and other authorities to pick interest to the interest rates yearly paid to the savers. That is why money is overstimulated and yet the savers get very little money. That is what I would like to submit on this. We are fully behind you and would like Parliament to implement the report to the dot. I thank you very much.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I'm Serubra Stefan, MP Lugazi Municipality. Right Honorable Speaker, I'm among the victims of the robbed savings as a teacher. Right Honorable Speaker, I've ever been in a school which failed to remit money to NSSF. And NSSF penalized it with 100 million shillings. And it almost collapsed. It almost collapsed because of the penalty. Right Honorable Speaker, we know very well that very many scandals have been in this country. We know very well that in the ministries there's corruption. We know very well that people have stolen government money. But this is our hard-earned savings. Hard-earned savings in villages, Right Honorable Speaker. People in the villages there who are saving with the NSSF, they are not involved at all when NSSF is making decisions. When they are appointing board members, they are not involved at all. At the end of the day, we are affected. Right Honorable Speaker, I know very well in the villages still people who have lost their properties because when they want loans, for example, from banks, someone who has 20 million shillings with NSSF is, for example, in need of a loan of 10 million shillings or 3 million shillings. Mortgages his house, he fails to pay back, and is having his money. How come that we don't use NSSF as a mortgage? Like someone who has 30 million shillings, you want 10 million shillings, you can use the NSSF money and you get the loan. But people are losing properties in the villages, yet people are here enjoying our hard-earned savings. Right Honorable Speaker, we've kept quiet on very many scandals, but on this we're not going to keep quiet. We need our savings back. Whoever took our money, we need it back at the capital.
Charles.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I'm Matov Charles, Member of Parliament representing Busolos House constituency.
Members, if you've talked, you're not going to talk again. There are people who have not spoken. Like my Hajat, just don't even stand. Even Hassan, don't stand. I only want those who have not spoken.
Right Honorable Speaker, I thank you again. I'm the Member of Parliament for Busolos House constituency. I want to thank the chairperson for the report and for patching holes in that fund. Right Honorable Speaker, I want to address myself to the fact that when we were young, we used to keep sugar in the tins. And once you don't cover the tins, you find all sorts of insects in that tin. Right Honorable Speaker, what happens that the fund has caused so many people to be attracted. And I want to put you on notice, Right Honorable Speaker, for a motion for an amendment to have the fund under the Ministry of Finance directly guided through the consolidated fund, so as to restrict people from accessing that money wherever they want. That has caused so many people to steal the money. Yeah, it is a suggestion that I'm proposing to the Speaker and to the House. But of course, the Minister is in charge of the investment for the fund. So as guided still, we can direct the money to the consolidated fund. Right Honorable Speaker, another suggestion.
The fund has its account. It is a fund on its own.
Right Honorable Speaker, that is not government money.
By the way, it is not government money.
Yep.
It is people's money.
People's money. Yeah. But we have to fend off the investment. As
Martin,
I wind up, the last one, Right Honorable Speaker.
Taylor.
Right Honorable Speaker, the last one is the fund directs the minister to lay to Parliament the benefits of the servers. Now, to uplift the spirit of the servers, the minister will be accommodated to Parliament to bring the benefits as to raise the hand.
Let's first look at the safety of the fund.
Thank you.
Before you go into the benefits. Because you first need, somebody was saying, who was saying that we first need to know whether the 17 trillion is actually there. That's what we need to first find out. Because you may be talking about book figures. Eh? Martin,
yes.
Taylor.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. My name is Martin Muzale. I come from Kamuli, that is representing the people of Uzaya. Right Honorable Speaker, I begin by appreciating the report. And my first concern is these are issues captured right from 2010 up to date. My concern would be the audit reports right from 2010 to date. What have they been capturing? If we look at those audited reports, do we have these issues captured? And if not, Right Honorable Speaker, we need to look at the quality of our reports that come to this House. Second, Right Honorable Speaker, in the report they didn't capture well the issue of the investment department per se. The idea of
was it part of the terms of reference?
Right Honorable Speaker, the report talks about the 3 billion houses. One house costing 3 billion. Right Honorable Speaker.
And in the recommendation, the committee says a forensic audit must be instituted on the investments that the firm has made. Meaning they could not go further. That's why they are asking for a forensic audit on that investment.
Okay, Right Honorable Speaker, I appreciate that. But I want Right Honorable Speaker, we are talking about the workers' funds. And if we are doing any investment plan, we should be very considerate in terms of affordability. How much can a worker afford in terms when we are saying we are costing a house? A house of 3 billion is very expensive for an ordinary worker. Lastly, Right Honorable Speaker, it comes to corporate governance. The minister requested for 6 billion. And if the window was very clear, this money would have been eaten. That alone, Right Honorable Speaker, is enough to explain that the minister is not clear and is not clean. And we should begin to hold these people accountable, Right Honorable Speaker. Issues of corruption, we should speak loud enough. All this mess that we are talking about, Right Honorable Speaker, is being supervised by the minister. And if things have not been going on well, the minister must be held accountable, Right Honorable Speaker. One of my colleagues raised that the president should help us. No, we have the powers, Right Honorable Speaker. Let us do it the way we did it to Namuganza. The rest we shall see. I thank you.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Taylor.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Colleagues, take your seats. I have the floor. My name is John Taylor. I represent the people of Bugabula North Constituency from Kamuli District. Right Honorable Speaker, for once we are reawakened, thanks be to Honorable Mpaka, on the issues which are pertaining to the common people who hustle every day to save their money. Right Honorable Speaker, this is a governance issue at NSSF. And a lot of issues have been highlighted by my colleagues. I'll make reference to the issue of human resource. Right Honorable Speaker, the report highlighted a gentleman who is supervising relatives. But I'm convinced beyond doubt that this person does not singularly recruit these people. And he also posts them in the department which he supervises. This is just an eye-opener. Right Honorable Speaker, the entire management of NSSF is lacking both in content and character. And we must wake up to this and demand for clarity in terms of a forensic audit. Right Honorable Speaker, we should not be duped by acting because there has been a reference of 1 or 2 individuals. It's a general problem. So saying you are doing away with this one and the other without digging into the details, for whatever the reasons, this could have been only one person whose information was availed to the committee. But there are hundreds more there who are supervising their children, their wives, and everything. So let's have this clearly brought out by a forensic audit in HR. Secondly, Right Honorable Speaker, justice must not only be done, but thank you for permitting me more minutes. Right Honorable Speaker, we are talking about a report where there are concerns of not being heard and being heard. The Honorable Agnes raised a very pertinent issue when she was submitting. She's read a letter of appointment where they said NSSF remittances due to eligibility. We have not divulged deep into whether she was eligible or not. Or those people who benefited from the 10% were eligible or not. And we are here wasting time. Is right, is wrong, is right, is wrong. I think Honorable
Taylor.
I withdraw my statement, Right Honorable Speaker. I withdraw my statement, Right Honorable Speaker. And I want
who is wasting time?
Right Honorable Speaker, I've withdrawn the statement.
Okay, give it to Nachimuli now.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I also want to thank the committee for a job well done. Madam Speaker, the NSSF does not have a specific policy on investment, especially when it comes to land purchase. That's why you see they just buy land anyhow. Somebody talked about the houses that are constructed that our people cannot afford to buy, especially those who are down there in the villages. I think if there is an investment policy that should be followed by NSSF, things are going to be handled, Madam Speaker, well. But a lot of monies are wasted and stolen by our gentlemen and women because of lack of policies. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
The policy we are talking about, when you look at section 13, it says the investment shall be, the investment is such investment, I mean, the monies for investment in such will be determined by the minister. So it is still the same minister to determine the kind of investment that we are talking about. So, Aro?
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. My name is Komakech Christopher, Member of Parliament, Aro County, born in Puranga Sub-County. Right Honorable Speaker, it is in moments like this that the people out of Parliament get to appreciate what the 11th Parliament is doing. And I want to thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, that in such moments we reaffirm that indeed the 11th Parliament is the People's Parliament. Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker, and thank you, committee, for the good work that you have done. Right Honorable Speaker, it is so painful that a gate man, a cleaner, gets to save his or her money with NSSF, and someone who is the custodian of his money squanders the money. Where is the patriotism in such individuals? In 2009, the president disbanded the entire board of NSSF, including the finance minister. Uganda should not tolerate anyone who is trying to embezzle or corrupt or steal a lawman's money. And the 11th Parliament will not be part of this. Right, Honorable Speaker, my question comes in. Where is IGG in all this? This came out as a failed deal between the minister and the board members. The minister wanted 6 billion. It was not given to her. Then the board members came out. She said, we would rather all lose and go with nothing. When you go to the Mabati issue, it's still the same thing right now, right, Honorable Minister. When you go to the GOAT issue, it's the same thing. Where is IGG? Why should IGG always wait for someone to have a failed deal to come and fight corruption? Parliament has taken over the fight of corruption. IGG should come in. As I speak, right, Honorable Speaker, there is a case in IGG where the chairman, board of NSSF, is alleged to have squandered money, and he has started purchasing buses that only and he has squandered a lot of money, and the case is on. IGG should be held accountable. Tondeka buses believed it belongs to Mr. Peter, the chairman NSSF board, and the case is with IGG.
Julie, we are not sure about that. Let's just take it as hearsay. Julie?
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity.
Proceed.
Right Honorable Speaker.
Procedure, Speaker. You have guided on a matter that may have an effect on what we are discussing. I would seek your procedural guidance whether the matter that you have said is hearsay should not be expunged before we proceed.
No, it should be expunged because you're just saying from the blues. It's not part of our what is in the report. Was that part of the findings? Expunge
No,
it.
Right Honorable Speaker.
Expunge it.
Right Honorable Speaker, expand that part.
And apologize. Because don't smuggle any issues to the House.
Right Honorable Speaker, I apologize and with it,
Juliet,
although it's in public domain.
Let it be there.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity. Right Honorable Speaker, allow me to add my voice to my colleagues to appreciate the committee for the report. Right Honorable Speaker, NSSF money does not belong to the board members, neither does it belong to the management, but it rather belongs to the workers. All of us, we know the difficult conditions in which Ugandans work. The only advantage, Right Honorable Speaker, that these people who misappropriate funds have is that we as Ugandans, we are too forgetful. Right Honorable Speaker, the scandals in SSF have taken quite a long period of time. If we can recall what happened in 1998, by the time when Abel Katembwe was sacked, then just only after 4 years, we remember Dr. Yoram Balongo, and then Mr. Mpoma Ronaldi in 2005. When it came to 2011, all of us will still recall David Chand Jamwa. Today is the same story. Right Honorable Speaker, it's almost going to become a culture here. This system of setting friendly recommendations to these people who misuse people's funds, it's going to become a problem in Uganda. To me, I think it's time to tighten the ways how we could save people's money. In this case, I would say that let everybody who was involved in such scandals be accountable. Thank you, Right Honorable
Thank
Speaker.
you, Julie Bashir.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. I'm Haji Kazibu Bashir Mbazira. Right Honorable Speaker and members, I'm speaking and raising the voice of the poor and voiceless Ugandan that is working either as a juakari, a police officer, a teacher, or someone working in one of the remotest areas in the country. These people, the Ugandans we are talking about, are watching and following the debate tonight. Their hopes are very high that at least the 11th Parliament is going to shine light on those dark greys that have not been shown light onto. I want to highlight a number of cases that have happened before. Ugandans have been watching and following, but we hope and pray that this time round it's going to be different, Right Honourable Speaker and members. Corruption scandals have been hitting hard the nation's core, and nothing much has been happening. In 2000, we had a police payment to a tune of over 1 billion shillings that were not accounted for. 20 billion shillings were watched going down the drain in 2006 via the TriStar apparel clothing deal that went sour. We have a number of cases that have not been attended to. 2007, we had the Heritage Oil capital gains. 780 billion shillings was lost in that scandal, Right Honourable Speaker and members. 2012, 37.9 billion shillings was lost. As I come closer...
It was lost in what?
It was lost, 2012, it was lost in compensation to Dura Cement Limited, 37.9 billion shillings. I'm talking about the scandals that we've had.
How is it related to NSSF?
In 2000, corruption, we're talking about corruption, Right Honourable Speaker.
Let's limit our debate to NSSF first.
In 2009, Right Honourable Speaker,
don't
2.7.
Don't divert our debate.
Yes, 2009, 2.7 billion was lost in NSSF.
So
we hope and
how
pray.
Is it related to this one?
We have to push further. As people are watching us, the hopes are high that once today, the thieves that have taken this money are not going to sleep in peace in their beds. I implore each and every one of us here, Right Honourable Speaker and members, to have these resolutions passed, to see to it that the minister, the line minister, the MD are brought to book and cough the monies that they have swindled. I beg to move.
Thank you, Dr. Bedi.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, I want to start with the areas where I have a reservation. It is a very good report. There are only 2 areas, then I will go to the other. The recommendation 12, it was solicited resignation. I pray that we amend that recommendation, that as long as there is excess that was paid, that's what they should be refunding. Because these 2 board members, they were asked to resign. They must be compensated. But if there were excesses that were paid beyond what is required, then that's what they should refund. Second,
make a clear clarification on that.
Yes, Right Honourable Speaker, I'm talking about recommendation 12.
What is the recommendation saying?
Talking about the 2 board members that were asked to resign so that women come in, which is solicited because they asked them. When you solicit a resignation, it is very different when I freely resign.
Do you have evidence to the solicitation?
Yes, they mentioned it in the report. It is mentioned in the report. It is mentioned, Right Honourable, in the report. So I'm proposing an amendment that that recommendation we amend, that only they should pay back money which is in excess. The excess is easy to determine on what you accrue as long as you're a board member. It's very easy. Yes. Yes. Right Honourable Speaker.
Does the Act provide for resignation of a board member?
Right Honourable Speaker, I'm coming from a background that this resignation was solicited to comply with the new law. That's where I'm making my proposal. Secondly, Right Honourable Speaker, the issue of the chief.
Was it in compliance with the new law or is it a constitutional matter? We are entitled to a third.
Yes, Right Honourable Speaker, whether it is a constitutional matter or a new law, as long as it was solicited, that is where the rationale is. As long as you solicit, you compensate.
Right
Okay.
Honorable Speaker,
You will speak, don't worry.
when you look,
Why are you making a rebuttal on him?
yes, you will speak. Right Honorable Speaker, when you look at this report, it's an evidence of corruption, of safety. It's an evidence that the workers' money, the savers' money is in danger. When I heard the report and I read, my mind went to the United States of America. When they arrest people in a home, which they call house arrest, they apply gadgets called the ankle bracelet so that they can control your movement. Right Honorable Speaker, I want to propose that government procures ankle bracelet and we apply them on all the members so that they will never be near the NSSF property. They are very dangerous to the workers' money, and I so move.
Thank you. I can see the president of DP, chairman of DP. Honorable Katabazi, Christine, Ethel.
Thank you very much. Right Honorable Speaker, I would also like to thank the chairman for the wonderful report. Madam Speaker, a friend of mine recently told me that if you want to have peace of mind, don't get to know what is happening in government institutions because you might become dizzy. And this is evident from the report we've just, we had.
So are you dizzy now?
I'm becoming a bit okay now.
So you may not be in a sober mind.
No,
to
no, no,
debate.
I'm okay.
Yeah, I mean, if you
I would like to, there is one time the former MD, Mr. Biaro Gaba, when we were bringing in this issue of midterm access to savings. And he made a statement which I think all of us should really think about.